Good afternoon, teacher and everybody. So today I'm gonna talk about curriculum, components and phases of it. So here we have that a curriculum plays an important role in educational system. It's somehow a blueprint which leads the teacher and the learner to reach the desired objectives. As the result, the ones who are in charge of doing this are the authorities that have to design in such a way that it could lead the teacher and the learner meet the desired learning outcomes. So the four components of the curriculum are curriculum aims, goals and objectives, curriculum content, subject matter, and curriculum experience, curriculum evaluation. Those are the four components. So let's start with the first, that is aims, goals and objectives. Here the aims, goal and objectives can be simplified in a question, that is, what is to be done during the year. The subject matter content is linked, and we can make a question also, what subject matter is to be included. The learning experience also, what instructional strategies, resources and activities will be employed, and the evaluation approaches. While the curriculum evaluation is what methods and instruments will be used to assess the result of the curriculum. Here we have to take into account the four components to make the aims, the goals and the objectives, because those are linked and they cannot work alone. So the objectives spell out what is to be done, as I said, and it tries to capture the goals to be achieved, the vision, the philosophy, the mission statement and objectives of each program, or it could be institution. So also it clearly defines the purpose and what the curriculum is to be acted upon and try what to drive at. So it's like the big planning for working in institutions around the world or in a country. It depends on the necessities, the goals that we want to achieve, or want the learners to be developing during the year. Here we have to state these objectives. We have three pyramids. The first one is Bloom's taxonomy. The second one is Cradwell's taxonomy of affective learning, and the third one is psychomotor domain. So these pyramids are suggestions to use when you set your goals, aims, or objectives. You have to choose the ones that best works with you. The next is curriculum content and subject matter. So here it is the information to be learned in high school. It is an element or a medium through which the objectives are accomplished. A primordial concept of formal education is primarily to transmit organized knowledge in distilled form to a new generation of young learners. So in organizing the learning contents, we have to take into account the balance, the articulation, the sequence, the integration, and continuity for a sound content. So it has to be well organized in order to let the students learn. Here we have some principles to follow in organizing the content. So the first one is the balance. That it says that the content curriculum should be fairly distributed in depth and breadth of the particular learning or discipline. This will ensure that the level of or area will not be overcrowded or less crowded. In articulation, each level of subject matter should be smoothly connected to the next. Glaring gaps or wasteful overlaps in the subject matter will be avoided. So it has to be a clear organization of activities. Sequence. This has to be logical arrange of the subject matter. It refers to the deepening and broadening of content at this take up in the higher level. So here we have to prepare or to see the content for the elementary levels, so and then for the upper levels. So here we have that the horizontal connections are needed in subject areas that are similar, so the learner will be related to another. This is called integration. As you know, if you face or see the same topic in different areas, it can result in a meaningful learning for students. So that's the principles to follow. The third one is the curriculum experience. Here the curriculum experience refers to the instructional strategies and methods that are the core of the curriculum. These instructional strategies and methods will be put into action the goals and use the content in order to produce an outcome. Here we can mention that to be a master, the teacher has to give the direction, and the student activity has to be done with the teacher. Also here we can mention some of the activities that we can do, like for example in educational activities like field trips, conducting experiments, interacting with computer programs and others. Experimental learning will be also form a part of the repertoire of teaching. So here the student is putting into practice what they learn in a real context and having an experience doing this task. And the last one is curriculum evaluation. The curriculum evaluation is an element of an effective curriculum. It identifies the quality, effectiveness of the program, the process and product of the curriculum. Evaluation is important, so we can assess whether the objectives, if they have been met, of if not. Here we can see if our learning objectives or the curriculum objectives were stated correctly or not. We have here some steps to apply a curriculum evaluation. The first one is to focus on one particular component of the curriculum. Will be a subject, a grade, or a degree program. And we also have to specify objectives of evaluation. And the second one is collect or gather the information. Information is collected from different instruments, so that is the data needed regarding the objective of the evaluation. The third one is organize the information. They will be required coding, analyzing, storing, and retrieving data for interpretation. So here we do the interpretation part, and another part is analyzing information. An appropriate way of analyzing will be utilize or use. So in the analyzing, we face what was the problem or what were the benefits of the curriculum. And the final part is report the information. The report of the evaluation should be reported to specific audiences. It can be done formally in conference with stakeholders, or informally through roundtable discussion and conversations. So here we can share to all the community what were the problems or the benefits from the curriculum. Next we have the phases of curriculum design. So here we have four phases. The one is planning, the second one content and method, implementation, and evaluation. So the first phase in planning, we have to identify an issue, problem, or a need. So we face that situation in our environment, in our environment, so we can take some issue and problem from them. Then we form curriculum development team. Here we choose the members of the curriculum development and we assign some roles, like for example the functions of the members, the collaboration and teamwork they are gonna do. The third one is conduct needs assessment and analysis. So here it refers that we have to make some evaluation or make some tests to find the needs and look for what is needed and by whom is related the problem. And then in the analysis we use all the information, the data and the results to identify the needs. So we identify the characteristics of the problem. In the phase number 2 we have content and methods. So here we have the four step, that is state intended outcomes. So here we have to develop these outcomes or educational objectives, what the learner will be able to do as a result of participating in the curriculum activities. We state here a definition of the intended outcomes, the components of intended outcomes, condition, performance, and standards. Also examples in intended outcomes, and an overview of learning behaviors. And the next step is about select content. Here we have to take into account what will the learner need to know, what knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors will need to be acquired and practiced. The next step is design experimental methods. Here the group of working is the call to do the design activities, learning experiences, so to help the learning achieve appropriate intended outcomes. So to have a good experimental learning, we have a model that it says that we have to look for activities that can give experience, that can share information, that can show you a process. The next phase is implementation and is produce curriculum product. Here the actual production of curriculum materials begins, includes suggestions for finding and evaluating existing material. Number 2, we take into account the evaluation criteria, and we have suggestions for producing curriculum materials. So here we have to take into account how to design materials. Next step, test and revise curriculum. Include suggestions to select test sites and conduct a formative evaluation of curriculum materials during the production phase. Another step is recruit and train facilitators. Here we can think that is a waste of resources if we create a good curriculum materials, but if we didn't train or we don't train teachers to give or to provide good knowledge and to be good facilitators, we are wasting time. And the next step is implementing curriculum. So here we have the effective implementation. A newly developed curriculum products is unlikely to occur without planning. So to implement the curriculum, we have to have a very good planning in the steps and the time that we are gonna do each part of the curriculum. And finally, we have phase 4, that is evaluation and reporting. And here we have design evaluation strategies. Here we have two types of evaluation, the formative and summative. These are used during the curriculum development. Formative evaluations are used during the needs assessment, product development, and testing steps. And the summative evaluations are undertaken to measure and report on the outcomes of the curriculum. And the last one is reporting and securing resources. So suggestions for what to be used. We have to take into account the policies to make decisions and provide a brief discussion on how to secure resources for additional programming. So here we have into account the resources that we have and we are gonna use during the curriculum designing. That's it. Thank you so much. See you soon.